There we go. We're live. Welcome to the
Yes.
inaugural episode of Tico-ish. I'm Krista Jimenez, the owner of Pura Vida Moms. Um, and I'm here in Denver, Colorado. And I'm here with Ryan Sitzman, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sitzman. I'm here in Berlin, being de San Ramon in Costa Rica.
And Ryan's the owner of Costa Rica Outsider, Sitzman ABC, and RyanSitzman.com. He's a blogger extraordinaire, and we've gotten together to bring you insightful and hilarious stories about being married to Costa Ricans. Yeah. So, what's up, dude?
Not much. How you doing? It's a nice day today. How about there?
Yeah, it's almost 100 degrees. So we've been
Oh,
inside a lot today. But yeah, we went on a walk this morning. Everything's good.
oh, how lovely. Yeah, cool. Good to hear.
Cool.
Yeah, it's yeah, good. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. So do you want to talk about how we met?
From what I remember, junior high. That's the gist of it. Um, yeah. Again, I think it's one of those things where I talked about this with you on off the air, but I don't know if it's an apocryphal thing or if it's actually true. But you were saying that we met in outdoor living class. I thought it might have been a home ec class because it seems like we did kind of cooking, but I think that was maybe just a rebrand of the home ec thing. But yes,
Yeah, well, what I remember, so we're both from Fort Collins, but we lived on totally opposite sides of Fort Collins, and you were bused into our junior high school back then, right? At Bolts. Um, and all I remember, I think it was eighth grade, I think, but it might have been ninth grade. But I took outdoor living class right after band class. And since I played the clarinet, I would always like haul my clarinet down the hall and like put it on the table in the back of Mrs. Dean's classroom because there was nowhere else to sit with all my crap that I was carrying around. So whatever day it was, the first day of outdoor living, I remember like I'm in the back corner with my clarinet and you were like, "Hey, can I sit here?" So we sat at the same table and I remember it was like get to know you activities and what you knew how to do or like your claim to fame was that you could draw a cow or something. Can you draw some
yeah,
sort
yeah. I can still barely draw it. It's basically like a sleeping cow.
but
So
what's the claim to fame on that?
that's the only fame I had. It's pretty much the only thing I can still do. I can drive a bus, and that's still the only talent I have.
Well, at some point I guess we'll have to record you drawing said cow. So
Yeah,
anyway, I just remember like meeting you there, and so I don't really remember how we became friends though from there because I sat next to a lot of people in junior high, but I didn't necessarily become friends with them. So I don't
yeah,
know.
that's a good point. Yeah, that's kind of like I feel like someone from the '60s or something, but a lot of those things are still kind of mysteries that I can't remember. I think it's just after so many years, you just put in new information, and the old stuff kind of gets pushed out a bit. But like the friendship remains, but you kind of forget about some of the details about what all happened.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know that at Bolts we had a lot of our classes together because I remember being in an English class with you, and you gave me a mixtape with a lot of REM songs on it. Um,
Yeah,
but I also know we went to several school dances together, which was extremely awkward and strange because I don't know that we were ever really romantically inclined, but we were good friends, and it like so we went to these dances. Um,
as
but
friends do.
yeah, clearly from the meme for this episode right there, we were. I think that was in 10th grade, looking extremely awkward at our high school dance.
I can hardly recognize that hairy boy these days. But
So yeah. Do you have any
yeah,
random fact that you remember about when we were
yeah,
growing up?
Yeah, I mentioned one thing I think you off the air too, but also you mentioned the REM mixtape. I pretty much remember that you didn't like Finest Work song, and I was a little bit saddened by that. I was like, but that's a good song. It's a good song. But
It
you
was.
didn't find it. Yeah, and the other one I think I was mentioning it. I don't know if it was that exact dance that is on the picture that you will use in the episode, but it was some kind of dance, either homecoming or Sadie's or something. And again, this is one of those things where I'm pretty sure it happened, but you might completely disagree. But I'm pretty sure we had dinner at your house, and I think you cooked and you made egg pop soup, and I was impressed that you could actually. That, well, not necessarily you, but anybody. I didn't know that anyone could make egg pop soup outside of a Chinese restaurant. I just thought it was impossible, but you did it, and you did a good job.
Thank you. It sounds vaguely familiar. I don't exactly remember, but I'm sure that I cooked. I love Chinese food. It sounds, I don't know how I managed that feat pre-Google, but apparently I did.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Well, thank you. So yeah, so we've been friends. What would that have been? 1993, probably?
Yeah, yeah, probably about the 93, 94. Yeah.
Amazing. And then after all these years, I went to college in Nebraska and you stayed in Boulder. And I ended up in Costa Rica. Well, you were in Boulder and I was in Longmont teaching.
Hmm.
And I had left my job in Costa Rica. I was teaching in San Ramon at a bilingual school, and I left that job to come home and marry Ricardo because he moved here and we lived in Longmont, which is just a few miles from Boulder. And I guess before that, you went to our wedding, right?
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Should I tell that story?
Yep, you went to our wedding, and didn't you catch the garter?
I did, and yeah, I cut the garter, and you guys had sort of, I don't know, what do they call them, party favors or
Yeah.
wedding prizes, or yeah, wedding prizes of like the traditional Costa Rican ox carts. So I remember I took the ox cart and the garter belt home, and I put the garter belt on the ox cart, and that was sort of like a 1980s movie where like it sort of worked some kind of magic, and then I was done to marry a Costa Rican, and I think probably within 1 or 2 years I was actually married to a Costa Rican. So
Well, the funny thing about that is at my wedding, I remember you were like more single than single. Like, I think you're wearing like a white t-shirt. I remember there's a photo with you like with something on your head, and I'll have to pull it out and post it, and like the garter around your arm and like unshaven. And I'm like, you caught the garter, and I'm like, there's no way he's getting married next. Like, there's no way. Ryan's gonna be 50 before he gets married. And then it was just a couple months later when I think you mentioned like, hey, I'm thinking about learning Spanish. Do you know anywhere in Costa Rica? And I called the bilingual school that I've been working at, and they were like, yeah, we need a teacher. It was like immediately, right? Like, like we need a teacher next week. Isn't that about
yeah,
how it
pretty
went?
much it was like 1 or 2 weeks right after that, and yeah, it's like 1980s movie magic. What can I say?
So Ryan gets on a plane and goes to Costa Rica, and you stayed with a woman that I knew, Doña Nidia, right? Um, in San Ramon, where my husband's from, and you never came home. Like you actually never came home.
Yeah, well, yeah, for visiting, but yeah, I basically moved here like right then. Yeah, we got legally married. Um, then I guess 6 months after I got here, approximately, and then like married in the church less than a year after. So didn't waste any time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have an episode about this whole legal married versus getting married in the church
Okay.
extravaganza that happens in Costa Rica. I don't think I realized you were legally married outside of the church.
Yeah, yeah, it was controversial.
And now you're a Costa Rican citizen, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's been about 3 years now. 2013 with citizenship, so got the passport and everything, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I
Yeah.
Ricardo's applying for citizenship. He should find out any minute. So really we have these like mirrored lives, right? I'm living now in Colorado with a Costa Rican from San Ramon, and you're living in Costa Rica with a Costa Rican from San Ramon.
Yeah.
um,
Weird
we
twist
both
of fate.
yeah, we both have kids about the same age. So basically, we wanted to let everybody know who we are, what we're doing. But you should be able to chime in now soon or tune in for some hilarious observations about multicultural marriage, expat life, bilingual extravaganza. And then there's also just things that can only happen in Costa Rica.
Yes, definitely. That's my bread and butter.
And clearly you can tell by the extravagant wall art behind him that his bread and butter is bringing in the dough.
I'll have to sort out that for the next episode, probably.
Well, clearly I have a door and an unpainted wall behind me. So
Yeah.
if this were a competition, you would be winning.
Yeah, and you can't even see the Elvis towel that I have hanging on the wall, but that's pretty much it. Takes the cake. There you go.
Excellent.
Okay.
And I do like how the Colorado flag is bigger, at least, than the Costa Rican flag. Way to go.
Yeah, actually, that's the cool thing about the Costa Rican flag. It's basically you can just buy it by the meter or whatever, and because it doesn't have any changing time, so just a couple lines. So I think that was it's sort of like a half-hearted effort one Independence Day a couple years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that. You can just go into the store and buy however many meters of the flag that you want. You can roll it out across the top of your car. You can drape it around yourself, and it doesn't really matter if it touches the ground because it's not actually the flag. It's pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no military people that get offended if it does touch the ground.
True. I think people would be more offended if you didn't go down to the fabric store and buy your meter, because then it's just like the ultimate act of laziness if you can't even muster enough to go buy a couple of feet of fabric and wave it around on Independence Day. Like, no good.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Well, we're going to keep these short and sweet so that our audience doesn't get sick of us. So tune in next week or whenever we get our poop in a pile for our next episode about, I don't know what it's going to be about. Do you know? Yeah.
Costa Rican stuff and bilingual things. Children, food. I don't know.
The answer to that is no. Well, sweet. Well, talk to you later and have a good afternoon.
You too. Take care.
Okay, bye.